which one does our warehouse use? Robots or humans?
Oh, I haven't checked in a while. Have you been in there?
I think it's all small dogs.
Okay, got it. On the one,
at least they're the managers.
On the one sticker, it's rabbits and small dogs. So
No, we have real life humans who work very hard, but not under grueling, inhumane conditions.
There's heating and cooling systems.
They can take bathroom breaks whenever they want.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, we have afforded that in our benefits package.
We should get a medal.
Hi, I'm Joe Beal, the founder and CEO of Microcosm Publishing. I'm also the author of A People's Guide to Publishing, which distills what I've learned from selling millions of books over the past 28 years.
I'm Elly Blue, the vice president of Microcosm. We started this podcast to share what we've learned with newer publishers, so you can learn from our mistakes. Or maybe you just want to learn about the publishing industry.
This week, we are going to answer a reader question. How does a warehouse work?
Whew.
Very hard, usually.
I was just reading an article about how Amazon warehouse workers, now that everything's automated, it's actually optimized, so they barely do anything.
Oh, interesting.
They're standing around all day, and they don't get any training, and they basically are just there to, like, push the button to make the machines move again when the machines stop moving.
Wow.
I know. I sent it to you. It's super interesting.
This has gone full circle like 3 times now.
I mean, I'm sure it will change again.
where it went from like human to robot, back to human, back to robot. And I mean, I guess it's like as the automation of robotics technology improves, this is kind of the direction we're going. I can't even tell you how many people this has confused when they're like, why do you have a warehouse? And I'm like,
we have 3.
To ship the orders? I don't even understand the question.
Right. I guess nobody goes into publishing and envisions themselves like stuffing a bunch of envelopes and dealing with returned mail and all those things.
But that is, I mean, I guess fundamentally most books sold are still paper books, and so that's, I guess, misnomer number 1 you tend to have to overcome. And then misnomer number 2 is that books are not printed to order. Most books are still mass produced for a ton of reasons. Principally, cost is significantly less. Believe it or not, convenience. I mean, imagine if you had to manually print every single book sold one by one. It would take, 4 times as long. And then, quality to some degree, though quality has improved probably the most. Our industry is run by billionaires and conglomerates.
At Microcosm, we wanted the freedom to independently sell our books, easily pay royalties, manage our inventory, and understand our business all in one place.
That's why we've been using our own software since 2001.
Now, we want to share it with you.
Working Lit is the only business success software that is created and owned 100% by publishers for publishers.
Join Working Lit and get the agency you need to help your business grow.
Visit workinglit.com to try it for free. As much as the technology of print on demand or digital printing was claimed that it would replace all mass production, it was kind of like ebooks, where there was a lot of big claims and then it just didn't go that way.
So what are the main functions that a warehouse serves?
So
regardless of how many books you print at a time?
We, just got 2 new books in yesterday. And so, the warehouse has to receive the books.
What does that mean?
It means they have to put them on the shelf. They have to acknowledge them into inventory. It means, they have to put them where somebody else can find them. It means they have to notify appropriate parties. And then that means that customer service looks at all the orders for those books and then makes those orders into shippable orders. So instead of, the stores buy based on seasons, so they'll say, like, I'll take 2 of this and 1 of this and 6 of this and 40 of this. But that's not going to be, those books aren't going to all be printed at once. So we have to look at it again and say, okay, here's the new books. Here's what we're going to have at a time, and then here's the older books, and then make those into orders that can go out without the store waiting for every single book on their order to be printed. And then, obviously, then they need to ship those orders and include the billing information, and there's a lot of various aspects to it that are not super complicated, but, you know, this tends to, when people talk about the supply chain being broken in publishing, it tends to be because publishers are skimping on aspects of those systems, or they are understaffed.
The publishers or the warehouses? Because it's not always the same.
Well, in publishers that operate their own warehousing, it would be the warehouses are understaffed.
Yeah.
And this was the big thing that came up in 2020, 2021, where that was the first time where publishers didn't feel like they could pay low wages for warehouse work. They suddenly, you know, people were like, why would I do this? I could just do something else, you know? And so that became, when it became more of a respectable profession in terms of, you know, how, well, I don't know that it's still perceived that way in the industry. Warehouse work is still some of the only jobs that are not publicly acknowledged, you know. But it's respectable work in the sense of, like, you know, it feels really good. You're a vital part of the industry. Like, it literally could not work without you. And, you know, you look at orders that came in, and you look at what's going out at the end of the day, and you have, like, tangible accomplishments, whereas in any other part of publishing, that is not true.
It just piles up.
We built this software from scratch to solve our own problems starting in 2001.
It's not only the reason for our survival, but the reason we've been a Publishers Weekly fastest growing publisher 3 years in a row.
Now, we want to share it with you.
Join Working Lit and get back the agency to understand your publishing business, market and sell your books, and painlessly pay royalties.
Working Lit, doing the math for publishers.
Visit workinglit.com to give it a try for free. So, like, what are some ways that warehouses don't work? What's your diagnosis? Like, what about all the damaged books that arrive? That's happening at the warehouse level, right?
Yeah, well, I would say that's happening at the systems level. I would say publishing does have a packing, shipping problem, and the warehouse tends to take the brunt for it. But the actual problem with that is poor quality boxes and thin boxes and, you know, speed, essentially demanding an unreasonable output that makes it so there is inadequate packing material in boxes, having the wrong sized boxes. Lots of stores love to show off that, you know, 40% of a shipment comes in damaged and unsellable, and a lot of that is just waste of lack of training, of it being cheaper to do it badly than to put all the pieces in place to do it well.
What are some other common warehouse problems?
Not being able to find things is a big one. Again, systems, not warehouse. And yeah, a lot of it really is just, you know, people will get a little tired sometimes of the repetition of the work, and so a smarter warehouse has, like, good incentives, and it has things, you know, like our warehouse manager created a Friday program where they get to do all the maintenance work and then all the, like, neglected tasks that helps them have an easier week the following week. And it's not something I would have thought to do that way, but I think it does help to incentivize, and so it doesn't just feel like you come to work every day with, like, increasing volumes to do.
Anything else you want to say about warehouses?
So, don't take them for granted. I mean, the big thing with warehouses is, like, the publishing industry has gone to great lengths to pretend to ignore them like they don't exist for decades or centuries. And whereas you couldn't exist without the fundamental work that they do. And so, respect.
Yeah, it's skilled labor, and honestly, it's like harder to be good at than it is to be good at some other more white-collar roles in the publishing industry. So, you know, we always post our warehouse hiring and promotions. We send them along with our other job changes to, like, industry trades like shelf awareness, and once in a while one will get through, but they usually won't post them, and they should. That's what I would like. If you're watching this from shelf awareness, please post our warehouse jobs. They're really important parts of our company.
And those are the people that the bookstore actually is typically working with.
Yep.
They don't typically work with the marketing director.
Yeah, and they often have, like, a huge amount of expertise in books and in, like, what customers order, you know. If they have good pattern recognition skills, like, they're, you know, a valuable part of the marketing team, too, and the customer service team. So, anyway.
There's that. Thanks for joining us once again.
Please send your questions to podcast@microcosmpublishing.com so we can answer them on future episodes.
And please give us 5 stars on iTunes and everywhere else that podcasts are reviewed.
You can find us on the internet at microcosm.pub,
On Twitter at Microcosm,
on Facebook at Microcosm Publishing,
on Instagram at Microcosm_pub.
and here in Portland, Oregon on North Williams Avenue.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful week.
This week, we are... Wait, which one are we doing?
How does a warehouse work?
This week...